you're live.
Hi, and welcome to CEP Live on Facebook. We normally air on Tuesdays at 2, but today we are starting a little bit earlier because we're here on location at the Kansas Leadership Center. Our interview today will feature Shaun Rojas.
Hello.
It's going to focus a little bit more on civic engagement than policy, and you'll have some great tips and ways to engage. So thanks so much for joining us, Shaun.
No problem.
So the Leadership Center has been a longtime partner with the Climate and Energy Project, and we're here, myself, Rachel Mislivy, and Jamie Hoffling behind the camera there, as well as some of the other staff are going to be here for participation in Lead for Change as part of our Kansas Leadership Center Transformation Grant. So if you listen to this video with Shaun and think, man, I want to get in on some of that KLC stuff, send us a note or put your name in the comments and we'll reach out to you. We have grants to offer to cover your registration to come to KLC. And KLC is a really amazing, fantastic place, and it's a great opportunity to engage. So Shaun, how about you tell our audience a little bit about KLC and why it's so great?
So why KLC is so great? That's too many reasons. Well, so the Kansas Leadership Center, we exist to help transform the civic culture of Kansas. And we want lots of Kansans from all across the state coming into this building, learning about leadership development, learning how to make progress on tough, adaptive challenges. So what we mean by that are the challenges where there's no easy answers. And my guess is the kind of issues that you all focus on are there's probably no easy answers, or else we would have solved it by now. So perfect set of problems that we will help equip you to solve by looking at it from a leadership angle. And we're a nonprofit, 501c3, and again, we exist for all Kansans, all walks of life, anyone interested in exercising more leadership. And here, we believe leadership is an activity and not a position, and I think that's probably what sets our curriculum apart a little bit from most leadership development experiences.
Yeah, thank you for that, Shaun. It's a really fantastic opportunity to engage with KLC. We're really fortunate to have it here. Shaun, can you tell our audience how they can connect with your work?
Yeah, so a few ways. You can visit our website, www.kansasleadershipcenter.org, and we have 3 different programs to choose from. But because of the connection to this organization, we do have opportunities for you to be kind of scholarshiped into the program, so we can waive the registration fee. All you'll need to cover is the cost of travel, lodging, and your book, but we can make the price 0. We'll give you a special promo code, and it'll magically go to 0. And we do that because we are funded by the Kansas Health Foundation. They've given us a generous grant, and our goal is to make leadership development, all Kansans to have access to leadership development. So that's what we do here. So that's one way. The other way is I spend a lot of time here at the Leadership Center. My role is Director of Civic Engagement, and I help people have conversations around tough issues. And last year our issue was the relationship between communities of color and law enforcement, and this year the issue will be around guns and public safety. So again, 2 issues with no easy solutions, right? And we're trying to help people have conversations around those issues differently than they normally do, and have them be more effective than they normally are. And we think our set of leadership ideas can help people have conversations around those. So those are known as journal talks. We have a quarterly magazine known as The Journal. It's out 4 times a year, and we make that available to all of our participants who come through the building, and also you can subscribe to it and find it online at klcjournal.com. And it's a really great kind of magazine that highlights Kansans and people exercising leadership in the state.
Fantastic. It is. The Journal is a really wonderful resource, and all of the KLC learning opportunities, I've done a lot of them. They're really fantastic. And maybe one day we'll be fortunate enough to have one of the journal topics be climate change.
Sure,
One of the most.
I was just thinking about that. That was a great. I think that'd be excellent and wonderful. I will. We'll definitely explore that for sure.
Thanks, Shaun. So I know you don't do much with policy here at all,
Mm-hmm.
but can you talk to our audience a little bit about how your work aligns with the wealth topics, which, if you're watching this for the first time, wealth stands for water, energy, air, land, transportation, and health, and we see those as our wealth resources in Kansas, and preserving our wealth resources will safeguard the future of our state. So how does KLC interact with those topics, Shaun?
Yeah. Well, so not necessarily directly as an organization, but our goal is to equip folks like you all to be more effective when they're talking about those issues. And so I brought a little card that you will get when you come to the Kansas Leadership Center, and this has our curriculum. So we don't have this huge curriculum, we have these simple set of ideas. So the way that we can connect to those issues, to the wealth, was it a wealth, what do you call that? The wealth?
Priorities.
Priorities, okay. Are with these, we think are simple leadership principles. Not always simple to behave, but this is the way we have them set up. 1, leadership is an activity, not a position. 2, anyone can lead anytime, anywhere. 3, it starts with you and must engage others. 4, your purpose must be clear. And 5, it's risky, right? So those 5 things, how are you thinking about those things when you're trying to tackle that issue? Whatever it is that you care about, whatever issue you care about, who's involved, what's actually happening, how do you engage other folks? How do you learn about the players in the situation? How do you get connected to a group of people that are focused on that issue? And how do you understand maybe the other side that you disagree with, or the opposing, we like to say the opposing faction, or the other factions? How do you learn about what they care about? How do you understand what you care about? And how do you work to try to make progress on that issue? And the 5th one, it's risky. Yeah, it can. Sometimes it can be risky. You might say something in a meeting that might offend your neighbor, it might offend a friend, and sometimes leadership can be difficult because either you disagree with folks, might get a little heated in a conversation, but the idea of practicing that behavior to be more effective when you're in that situation, that's what we do here at the Leadership Center. We want to put you through this tough practice of exercising leadership. So when you're out in the community, in your community, focused on an issue that you care about, you're able to stay in the conversation and to lean into the conflict and to be more effective. And we often say to have this balcony approach, to get on the balcony and look down and kind of see how it's playing out. And we want you to be able to do that in the moment. It's difficult, and that's what we practice for. So it's similar to practicing for a sport or playing piano. You get better by practicing and doing it like you would at the recital or during the game. So we're preparing you for the next time you're in that meeting around these issues.
Yeah, I always try to think of it like I'm stretching my leadership muscles when I come here, so that when I'm out in the world, I'm a little bit more flexible with how I work with people.
Exactly.
So Shaun, you talked about like putting yourself up on the balcony. What are some of the top tips for civic engagement that you could share with our viewers?
So I before this I wrote down 5 tips to get involved locally, and I think what's important is you want to have an issue or at least something that you care about. Our belief here at the Leadership Center is if you don't care about something, you're not going to maybe risk anything or do anything on behalf of that. And I don't mean risk a whole lot, but it might mean spending a little bit more time away from your family, or going to a meeting, or going somewhere where you're not comfortable. And so we do think it's connected to what you care about. But let's say you found an issue, you care about it, you want to be more engaged, you want to be more involved. Okay, so the first tip is read the local news. So local newspaper, it's really easy for us to, it's hard for me, I follow all these national organizations, news websites everywhere across the country. Not all of them are always talking about Kansas. And when they are talking about Kansas, it's probably something that's really extreme and maybe something that's, is not something we're not proud of. But we wanted to, focus on your local newspaper. The local newspaper, and I know some of you might be in smaller towns where you don't have a local newspaper, but the area paper, those, you're gonna read stories and understand what are the issues that people are talking about, what are the issues on the table. So that's one. So one, read the local newspaper. Two is attend city commission meetings, county commission meetings. There's here in Wichita, we have local advisory board meetings that are connected to the different districts in the neighborhood across the city. So there's tons of meetings that happen around the city and the county around laws getting made and ordinance passed, and they're always made available to the community. There's laws that say the community gets to know about those, and so connect with those, find out where they're at in your neighborhood or in your city and attend them. You'll get a sense of who the players are in the community, who are the people that are there showing up, asking questions. You'll get to know just how things happen. And sometimes you'll understand why things don't happen and why they do, and it'll just give you a more rounded sense of how local government works. So the second one, so again, first one, read local news. The second one is attend local city / county commission meetings. And there's a whole bunch of things that fall into that category. So the third one is go have coffee with your local elected officials. You might think, they don't want to meet with me, but yeah, they do. They would like to meet with you. They like to go on meetings, and especially they like to have coffee. They like to, so meet them for coffee. So find out and know who your local reps are. You have a city council person. You also have a legislator, but find out who they are, know who they are, and invite yourself. And they sometimes have a breakfast gathering. Sometimes they will have a luncheon. They make those open to community members. Go to those, and also don't be afraid to ask them to meet with you one-on-one. I think they'll enjoy that, and I think you'll learn a lot about who they are, and you'll just get to know a little bit about where they come from, and it also gives you a way to kind of figure out what's happening in a one-on-one way that's different than maybe reading the news or hearing from other folks.